Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you guys have a good start to the week so far. Let's jump into this. We got a confirmation for the upcoming collab here for Raid, and that's going to be Assassin's Creed. Yes, everything was confirmed true, and Assassin's Creed will be the next collab. We do have some information here pertaining to the upcoming events for this collab, and I'm going to share with you guys exactly what I have right now in this video. But first, make sure you guys collect your Frosted Path goodies before the end of the day. We got 20 hours and 30 minutes as of recording time, so I got 50,000 coins here. And let's just collect the Hilvy soul here because we do have the soul chase active, and we're going to get a boatload of points for collecting this soul. So I'm just going to collect it. Boom, there you go. We received the perfect soul, and we got 450 points towards the champion chase. Just make sure you guys do that before the end of the day, and make sure you guys remember this tip for the future, right? Because this is just free stuff. We got free epic book, free gems, and free energy. 450 points, boom, added to our soul chase tournament right away. So anyways, guys, without further ado, let's jump into this brand new collab. Here we go. So like I said, Assassin's Creed is confirmed, and here is the info for the campaign. So the start date will be January 8th. January 8th, that's going to be Thursday this week, and then it's going to have an end date of April 8th. So 4 months, 4-month campaign here for Assassin's Creed. Yeah, it doesn't really give us too much other details. Obviously, if this is not pertaining to like the login details or anything like that, or the login champion details, but this is just the overall timeline for the entire event. All right, guys, on to the next slide, and here is the event dungeon. So the event dungeon is coming back. That's nothing new or anything like that. They did hint at this recently in the December interview with Plarium, and it looks like the teased champion that we got last week is going to be part of that event dungeon. So the event dungeon is back, and there is a brand new boss, non-IP champion, Pontiff Augustine. Pontiff Augustine. So this champion was leaked or given to the not given but exposed to the public back in October actually, and then they quickly removed the visuals for this champion, but he was been in the game for since October. Pontiff here. The event dungeon will be available only during the time limited event, so until April. Features 30 stages, normal difficulty with difficulty rising each stage. No waves, only boss battle, but beware as the boss won't be alone, joined by mighty warriors unique to each stage of the dungeon. This time, the event dungeon will get 5 new challenge stages, 31 to 35. These challenge stages won't require energy and won't provide the typical loot. Instead, their completion will bring you a one-time reward like relic materials, basalt, and gemstones. Will be available for players from level 6 and higher, and the event dungeon will be active until March 4th. So you guys realize that the entire campaign lasts until April 8th, but the event dungeon will end 1 month earlier. Just something to keep in mind. Now, this 5 new challenge stages, 31 to 35, actually is pretty interesting. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. Nice to get some extra one-time rewards, and I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Whether they're just going to make it more difficult or they're going to add some special mechanics. But I assume it's still going to be a boss fight with Pontiff, and it can't deviate too much, I would imagine, from his overall mechanics. Maybe they'll just add new ads or something like that. But yeah, cool. New loot is obviously good, and no energy required, even better. All right, so they've given us the skill breakdown here for Pontiff. He is going to be a collectible champion in the game, right? So let's check out his kit here and see what we're working with. He is a Void Affinity support champion for the Night Revenant. How many more champions does this faction need? His A1, attack one enemy, has a 100% chance when fully booked of placing block active skills for 2 turns. Steals 5% of the target's turn meter for each buff on them. Now this could be really, really strong, right? So 100% chance to land block actives on a single target. And then the steal turn meter ability is actually pretty nice as well. His A2 is going to be a 5-turn cooldown. And then he's got 4 books there, and then he's got 3-turn cooldown when fully booked. Removes all buffs from all enemies. It's going to be a full team strip. Has a 100% chance of placing ensnare debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. The debuff will ignore any block debuffs on enemies under 3 or more buffs. It seems like a pretty specific condition. You need to have 3 or more buffs and block debuffs for that to happen. It's kind of weird, but sure, that's good. It's just upside for this ability. Also decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 25%. Now that's pretty big. If an enemy is under 3 or more buffs, it will decrease turn meter by 40% instead. Nice. That's pretty big. So it's going to be a full team strip with a ensnare with a turn meter pushback. Now I have to look up the ensnare debuff here a little bit. Any turn meter increase effects received by the champion with the ensnare debuff will be reduced by 50% or 100%. So going back to Pontiff's kit here, it says a 100% ensnare debuff. So basically turn meter effects will be basically no longer useful on any enemy with ensnare. So that's what he's going to do to the enemy. So he's going to remove all buffs, ensnare them, so turn meter effects won't work. And then he's also going to push back their turn meter on a 3-turn cooldown from a Void Affinity champion. It's a hitless ability. So yeah, it will require accuracy to do the turn meter pushback and obviously land the ensnare. Let's check out his A3 here. 6-turn cooldown, 4 turns when fully booked. Places increased accuracy for 2 turns and intercept on all allies. Wow. Also fills the turn meter of all allies by 25%, then grants an extra turn. That's pretty good value. You get 2 buffs, intercept on your whole team. That's going to protect them from getting CC'd and all that stuff. And then a 25% turn meter boost. Too bad he doesn't give like increased speed here. That would be pretty nuts. So I guess your opening would be, let's check out his passive here before we make any kind of conclusions. His passive, allies receive 25% less damage from enemies under block, damage, unkillable, veil, perfect veil, or stone skin buffs. So your teammates receive 25% less damage from champions with these buffs. So stone skin is a big one because if a stone skin nuker attacks you, your team's going to receive 25% less damage. Each time an enemy receives a buff, is healed, or has their turn meter filled, has a 50% chance to decrease the duration of all their buffs by 1 turn. 50%, only 50% chance there. And it's a kind of like a passive strip almost. Yeah, it's kind of like a passive strip. It's pretty nuts. Turn meter filled, or has their turn meter filled whenever they receive a buff or turn meter filled. So they could be buffing and then having the duration of all their buffs get reduced by 1. That's kind of interesting. But that's really strong though. If there are multiple champions with this skill, only affects once. Okay, makes sense. Aura, speed in all battles, 24%. Oh my, that's pretty nice. This champion's kit reads pretty well. He could come in obviously as a speed booster, 25% in all battles. Comes in as a speed booster with increased accuracy, and then he'll strip the enemy, places ensnare, and then turn meter push back the enemy as well. He also provides your teammates with some support in terms of just survivability. He also passively strips your enemy as well with his passive. It's kind of interesting. It's a pretty interesting kit. I don't think ensnare is super strong CC or anything like that. You definitely could use him as a turn meter booster, but it would have been nice to have him kind of CC the enemy, like just straight CC the enemy. Ensnare is kind of like not really any kind of CC. You're also shutting down the enemy turn meter with ensnare, so you're also shutting down your own passive, right? So one of your passive's conditions occurs when the turn meter is filled, but if you have ensnare, I don't know how that works, whether that turn meter boost still happens and then ensnare reduces the effectiveness of it. That could be how it works. But yeah, not too sure there. But on first read, the kit looks pretty good. At the very least, he has a very good speed aura. He has very usable, like good value abilities. But whether the kit works together, completely, I'm not too sure. You guys let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Pontiff's skill kit here. Let's move on. We will get Chronophage back into the event dungeon here. So Chronophage, 1 piece 10% HP, 2 piece 40% resistance, 3 piece 5% speed, and then the 4 piece you get 1 immutable stack. So the immutable stack will block 1 instance of cooldown reduction on the champion that has the immutable stack. It's a bit of extra protection against champions that, you know, basically have cooldown reduction skills. It's a good set if you just need the extra speed bonus, for example, or if you just really need one champion to not have their stuff locked out. So we're going to get the Chronophage set back. And then we got a bunch of new relics in the game. Let's check out these new relics. Ooh, these ones look pretty cool, actually. Look at this guy. Look at this rook helmet here. Looks pretty cool. And this double head wolf relic. Super cool stuff. Let's check them out. We got the rare relics here. Vigor Mortis. Group Wings of Winter. Interesting. The wearer will deal more damage to enemies whose max HP is at least double the wearer's max HP. So it's going to go 2%, 1%, 1%, and then 2% at level 6. So it's going to be 6% at level 5. It's not a huge damage boost, to be honest. It's just a little one, but hey, for a rare relic, why not? A little bit of extra damage is always nice. Let's check out Sigil of Akar. Where receives 2% less damage from enemies whose max HP is at least double the enemy's double your wearer's max HP. Sorry. Now this one's gonna be, I think, slightly less useful because most damage dealers that you want to reduce damage from won't have crazy HP. So even if you put this relic on your lowest HP champion, it's probably not going to come into effect from a damage dealer on the other side. So you're most likely protecting yourself from the high HP support champions, and the damage reduction is pretty small. So both of these are pretty low impact rare relics, unfortunately. If you're really hurting for damage, I mean, Vigor Mortis could be useful just for a little, you know, a little boost, but the Sigil of a car just doesn't make any sense, and I don't see it being used. Let's check out the epics here. Howling Guardians decrease the damage the most injured ally receives from bosses by 5%. Where receives that damage instead, this relic is only activated once per team. Damage reduction here, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5. So at level 12, you're going to get an additional 10%, so 15%. So decrease the damage by 15%. This champion takes that damage instead. I don't know. I mean, I guess you're supposed to put this on some kind of support champions, maybe a champion that can heal themselves, for example. That might work out for you, but not a huge impact relic, in my opinion. Definitely, you could, yeah, not a huge impact here. Dark Smiles Toast. Whenever the wearer's turn meter is filled by a skill, okay, also heals the wearer by 3% of their max HP. The heal will be 6% at level 12. You get 6% heal whenever you get your turn meter filled by a skill. This could be interesting. You just have to find the right champion for this. Who has constant turn meter, perhaps from an A1. An A1, perhaps, you know, an A1 with multi-hit, like, multi-hit, multi-fill. That would be interesting. But I think it only occurs once per turn. Once per turn. That's interesting. Okay, well, there's probably some restrictions here to keep it from being abused, but it looks promising. A little bit more promising here. Let's move on to the legendaries. So legendaries here, Thunderbolt Spear. Legendaries, very interesting to see this. Where deals 10% more damage to enemies under shield. Okay. Level 12 is going to give you an extra 15%, so you're going to go up to 25% more damage against enemies under shield. I mean, shield buff is relatively common, but you're not getting any kind of other damage. I mean, it depends on the stats. It could be, you know, if it's crit damage plus attack, those are pretty premium stats, right, for a damage dealer. So giving him an extra bit of damage against shields, not too bad there, but not particularly insane, but not too bad. Aculus Custodian. Removes all debuffs from the wearer whenever they lose 70% of or more HP from damage by an enemy in a single turn. Not single abilities, single turn. Okay. HP requirement at level 12, it's going to be 50%. So if you lose 50% or more HP from the damage, you're going to remove all debuffs. I mean, it doesn't prevent you from dying. It removes your debuffs, which could be good. It could remove like your CC and stuff. But honestly, I'd rather just have a relic that just prevents your death and gives you a chance to recover. I mean, I don't think this is going to be it. So unfortunately, both these relics seem kind of niche. Don't necessarily seem super, super powerful on first look. A little bit unfortunate here. Let's move on to the mythical relics. Diabolical Dice. Where receives 50% chance of increasing random skills. A random skill cooldown by 2 turns before attacking a single target. Reads kind of weird. Where has a 50% chance of increasing a random skill's cooldown by 2 turns before attacking a single target? I guess it should have said like enemy. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Occurs once per turn, where also deals 3% more damage for each turn of cooldown remaining on all enemy skills. All enemy skills. Cooldown. I mean, you're not going to start off the fight. Like, for example, if you go first, your enemy is not going to have any skills on cooldown, so you're not going to get any additional damage boost. At level 12, you're going to get has an 80% chance, plus 30%. So 80% chance of increasing a random skills cooldown by 2%, 2 turns before attacking. I'm not too sure. This damage boost could be nice. Could be significant, right? Like you could be looking at like 15%, 20% extra damage boost here. But that's not a first turn kind of effect, right? And then this is 100% at max level. And it's a random skill, 2 turns before attacking a single target. I'm not entirely sure how you read this. Maybe it affects only the champion that you're targeting. Anyways, you guys let me know if I'm missing something on that one. The Tower Helm. I like the aesthetics on this. Looks pretty cool. Where receives a 25% Fortify buff for 2 turns at the start of each round. Ignore defense effects used against the wearer are 10% less effective when the wearer's HP is less than 50%. At level 12, the ignore defense reduction goes up 20%. So it's going to be 30% less effective. Fortify, I had to just look up here again, but here we go. Reduces any enemy ignore defense effects by 25%. So you're getting the big version here, 25% fortify. So you're going to be reducing the ignore defense by 25%. You're going to get that buff. And then you're going to have this other ability, this passive ability here, basically. Ignore defense effects against the wearer are 10% less effective. Up to, like I said, level 12, you're going to be 30% less effective. So it's really shutting down ignore defense effects for the wearer of this relic. I mean, it's good. It's good. Nothing wrong with it. It's very good, very solid. But maybe I'm not seeing it, and it's not as good as like, other mythical relics, I guess. You get the fortify buff. Your ignore defense will be less effective. Yeah, I mean, you put this on a tanky support champion that can heal up. It's going to be a big problem for, enemy attackers. Definitely very, very useful, very, very strong. But is it up to par with some of the other mythical relics? I'm not 100% sure. You guys let me know in the comments below where you guys want to see these guys getting used or where you would use these relics. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this little bit of a teaser update here for the upcoming campaign. Like I said, Assassin's Creed confirmed. The start of the campaign will be January 8th. I assume it's going to be including a free login champion as well, so stay tuned for some coverage on that. And stay tuned for more updates on everything in the coming days. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you guys enjoy the content. It would really help me out. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this new collab, guys. Appreciate you all watching until the end. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.